in a church where we talked a lot about not having sex before marriage and how bad it was, how wrong it was. Now I'm married. You write this. And you say, I find I'm having a hard time switching my brain to sex is good. Corey.
Okay, well, welcome to pretty much every Christian that grew up in the 80s and the 90s.
Right.
I mean, this was the message, okay? There was, you know, it was just like, you don't talk about sex, and when you do talk about it, it's sex equals bad. Like, that was the message, you know? And like, I'll tell you, like, this is how I learned about sex, because you didn't talk about it in my household growing up. And I don't blame Mama and Dad Pearson, okay? Like, I don't blame them. It's just like, they didn't have the navigation tools for it either. The Dr. Dobson book was left in the bathroom for me to read, okay? That's how I learned about what sex was, because it just was a taboo subject, okay? So the only thing you ever heard was nothing or sex is bad. So that messes with you, that messes with you. That messes with your sex life, that messes with, it really does. And you have to kind of like work that out. It takes a lot of working out to kind of change you're all of a sudden supposed to change your whole mindset now because you're married and now like sex equals good. Like it takes a lot to just flip that over on its side and to make this whole dynamic change.
Well,
so
I'm flipping over.
you have to work that through, and like it takes a lot of like talking it out, counseling.
Yes.
Like talking it through with a loving spouse. It takes a lot of reading books. It's a lot.
Yes.
What do you have, Amy?
I love this subject so much. Bring it on. It's such a beautiful part of marriage.
Yes.
And it's also
It's
a gift, and there's also seasons. There's also issues, and there's times where, you know, you're going through stuff personally.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be this thing. It's a beautiful dance of giving grace and serving and being selfless. But I think it is important to realize that it is a gift from God. It is supernatural. It's for your enjoyment, and it is God designed. So I would say to all the married couples who are feeling like, I'm embarrassed. I mean, I was really modest. I mean, I think about how I would just, you know, like I was in the same teaching, you know, kiss dating goodbye, don't have sex before marriage, and we didn't. I mean, we went by the rules, but now you're in this marriage where there's just all this freedom. And I would say to my younger self, man, be free, enjoy it in a healthy way, go crazy.
Okay, well, all I can say is Corey said, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I say to you out there, if you grew up in the 70s.
70s.
Okay, we just had Woodstock, and that's the only thing I'm saying about sex. That's it.
The marriage bed is not
what I
defiled.
have to say about sex and church in this question, okay? Correct, you know, I mean, what you guys both said is great. But I also grew up in a time where, you know, I remember Linda, our beautiful makeup artist, her grandmother's name was Dr. Elma Illery, well, great-grandmother. And I remember, she was like a second grandmother to me, and I remember Dr. Illery saying to me, don't you never touch a boy, and don't you never let a boy touch you. And I thought, I'm in a whole lot of trouble because I got brothers over there and we fighting and going at it all the time. They're touching me. What are you talking about? So then you get saved, you give your life to the Lord, and you're growing up and you're being taught that, you know, sex is bad, it's only for marriage, which I agree, and, you know, all of that, but sex is not bad. That's that part that we didn't have a lot of clarity on. I think they were trying to scare us straight, so to speak. So T.D. Jakes shares this story about, you know, a mother in the Lord and how they had put her up to speak to the younger women. Let the older teach the younger. They put this mother up to speak to the younger woman. And she says, in all my years, my husband has never seen me naked. And I agree with T.D. My God, mother, that's what killed him. So for that result, and for that reason, I don't give granny panty showers. Okay. I don't believe in them.
Granny panty showers?
Yeah, you
What
know how
in the
you
world?
the old holiness sanctified folk want to pretend like they don't, you want to wrap them up in a
Hello, that's
in a potato sack. Victoria should not have all them secrets. You need to know some.
You need your own secrets.
You need to know some.
There you
So, but really, when a child has been taught and then all of a sudden they say, I do, and then the light goes on and you're like, so what am I supposed to do? So we have had to do some practical things, seriously. Some of my daughters in the Lord, those who successfully were able to keep themselves maybe need a book, maybe need a serious talk. And then the communication, one of you said that, the communication between husband and wife, but it's hard. How do I tell you how to satisfy me when I don't even know what I'm doing?
Right.
And if you've kept your eye gate clear, and your ear gate clear, that can be a wrestle. So I think we as the church have to come out of some of these erroneous teachings, and I think it's very important that we renounce those erroneous teachings. Just because somebody I love taught me something and it was wrong, even though I love you, but you taught me wrong, I need to know and learn how to renounce that. I don't have to continue to carry that on.
I didn't think we'd have enough to talk about with this question, but we did.
Yes.